Hey guys, my name is Musumeci. I'm here with Renato Canuto. Today I'm going to show you a lot of cool positions. One of my favorite positions is the ankle lock. I use it a lot in competition. It's a very efficient position for me, especially in my category because all the guys, they fight double pull, and the 20-second rule in IBJJF, everyone stays in double pull with each other, which enables me to do this position. And I have a lot of cool variations from here. And then I'm going to show you as well how to take the back and all the cool things from there. Okay guys, so now we're going to get into the basics of the straight ankle lock and how I like to set it up from the double pull. So me and my opponent are going to be here in this neutral position, both our butts on the floor, and this is like the double pull position. And always when I'm here, I'm looking to control a collar grip to pull his posture down, because I want to control his legs here to get to Dalahiva, where I can attack Berimbolo, I can attack different attacks here, I can attack his arms. So whenever I pull his shoulders and upper body to me, it's going to make him back up. And when he backs up, what happened to his legs? His legs are very light, and now it's easy for me to lift up his body. So I'm here, I pull his body down, he always goes against me and lifts his body up. So now I can go here. So back. So always paying attention to this concept when I'm playing in double pull is his body on his butt, his body on his shoulders versus his body on his butt, where I can lift up his legs. So if I'm here and I can keep his weight on his butt, I'll pull and then I'll push. And I'll move my body into this position here. Now when I get here, guys, I don't care about having the perfect position here. A lot of people make this mistake trying to land in the perfect spot. If I try to land too low in the perfect spot, that's when you lose the ankle lock because you're too low. So when I'm here, I always try to just control whatever I can with my arm. I don't necessarily have to be so low. I kind of stay kind of high just to maintain this grip because I'm going to slowly adjust this position. It's a slow position that you work your way around. So I get the grip and I get here. When I'm here, all I focus on now is I like to control this leg right below his knee line here. And what this enables me to do is it enables me to adjust back and it enables me to adjust in. This grip is so important. And how I like to do the straight ankle lock, I like to keep both feet on his hips. If I was to only have one foot on his hips, he could leg drag my leg, and now I have no form of distance to protect me from when he comes on top of me. So I would be in a lot of trouble. So what saves me is both feet on his body as two lines of distance here. I always try to have as much distance as I can in guard, and these 2 feet really save me because when he drags one leg, I push with the other, and now I can put my foot back. He takes out the bottom leg. I push, and then I can come back. So you see how I have both forms of distance protecting me here, which helps me so much in controlling this position. And that enables me to take my time and slowly adjust to get to the ankle lock position. So now I'm here. We're going to go over some scenarios with him changing his grips and all different things. But for now, I'm just going to show you the basic finish here. And how I'm going to finish is I'm going to make a grip below his knee. Right below his knee is where I can move my body. And I'm going to use my foot, my shin on his leg. That's going to help me pull myself in and pull myself out. And when I use my shin, it's like a table. Like I'm sitting on it so I can move my body. You see how I can adjust my body? So now I can move my body back. I'm going to make a grip on the collar. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to move my elbow from the mat and put my shoulder on the mat. What does this enable me to do? This enables me to use my whole part of my back on his foot instead of just using my elbow. So when I go like this, it's a lot more pressure. And I'm going to keep my feet on his hips, I'm going to keep my grip on his knee, and I'm going to apply some pressure to get the ankle lock. So let's start again. We're here. Holding the collar, this time I pulled him down, I connect this foot. I connect to the ankle lock position here. I go high. I don't care about how low I am here. I just stay high and I keep my pressure consistent. And we're going to go over the different grip scenarios, but for now, all we're going to do is we're going to control below the knee. We're going to pull. And I'm going to use my bottom leg to adjust my body back using my bottom foot here. Remember, both feet on the stomach. I adjust. I move my shoulder to the mat here. Now when I move my shoulder to the mat, I have a lot of pressure on the knee. Here. So again. Hey guys, so now I'm going to show how I like to finish the ankle lock like in an ideal situation when I'm able to control my opponent's hips completely. So I'm going to be in double pull here, and I'm going to be in the same position with an aqua. I'm going to get the collar, I'm going to move his weight to his butt, I'm going to get to the ankle lock position here. Again, controlling both feet on the hips so I have control of his distance in his body. Getting my below the knee line grip here, and I'm trying to go for this position. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect my hand, I'm going to post my hand on the floor, and I'm going to step on his body with my foot on his ribs. What does this enable me to do? This enables me to get my body, my knees to the floor. And when I get to my knees to the floor, now I'm not just using my upper body and my hips here. I have my whole body to support myself to finish this ankle lock. So now I can adjust whatever I want. I'm posting my hand. I'm going to put my weight on my head, and now I'm going to put pressure on his ankle. And I'm going to use my body, stretching my body like an arm bar to finish this position. So I'm here. We're in this position. I get the grips. I get here. I'm always trying to manipulate his body to that direction, opening his knee. Because the guy's power is always when his knee's closed. He's strong when his knee's closed. But if I'm able to keep his weight on this hip, this is where he's weak, if I'm able to open his knee. And how I do this is I use my knees on his knees. I'm pinching. I connect my hand. I adjust my grip. I start going to the elbow down here. Then I feel like I can sweep him almost. So I'll post my hand. And when I post my hand, I step on his ribs like a chair. Like a chair, yeah. I step. I come up here. Now that I'm on top, I have all my weight on him, and he can't sweep me down now. Now all my weight's on his foot, and this is a lot of pressure on his foot now to put the pressure. And here. I get the grip, I start adjusting, I keep my 2 forms of distance on his body. I get the control, I drop my elbow. I use my foot on his body, I post my hand. I sit up, I get both knees to the mat. Now I'm in a really strong position here. If I feel like I'm too high here, all I'm going to do is I'm going to let go of my hand posting. I'm going to put my weight on my head. I'm going to grab the knee, and I'm going to adjust my body again. Now that I adjusted my body, I'm going to use my butt, dropping the hip to get arm bar. Boom. And now I can finish the position. Okay. Get the position, always high. I never go too low, just to stay like controlling his leg at all times. I get the grip, I keep my feet here, I drop my elbow. Now that I'm here, I go elbow down, I post my hand on the floor. Now I keep my foot on his ribs, and I sit up using my foot on his ribs to push and to post. Now I can come up to my knees. Now that I'm on my knees, if I'm too high, I grab the knee right below the knee line like before. I pull and I connect my hand deeper. And notice my bottom leg helps me adjust my grip by pushing his shin, and now I can move my body up and down here using this bottom leg. That's very important, how I can use this leg on bottom to move his body up and down. So I can adjust this grip here. Now that I adjusted the grip, I can stay with my hand here, or I can post my hand here, and now I can use my hip to put the pressure on his ankle. Here. Okay guys, so we're going to go over every angle and scenario my opponent could give me in reaction from this position. And this time my opponent's going to give me a reaction that's a little different, and I'm going to show you how to address it accordingly. So we're going to be here, and we're going to be in the double pull position like before. I'm going to go for the ankle lock, pulling his butt to me, grabbing the leg, getting to the ankle lock position here. I get the grip on the collar. I start trying to bring my body this way this time, but Renato is wary of this, so he's going to start opening my hip. So this is the first ankle lock that we're going to do where my opponent's bringing me to the other side. So if I'm able to open his hip and nothing happens, no problem. Now I'm able to finish like before, all two finishes here and up here. But now he's able to close his knee, and when he closes his knee, it changes the angle of his hip and the pressure on his knee and ankle. It all changes accordingly aligned with his hip, knee, and ankle. So when he opens my knee, now instead of the pressure being on this side of his foot, I gotta make the pressure straight. So when I'm here, instead of going on the angle, closing my elbow, I'm gonna open my elbow up. I'm gonna hold the gi here, adjusting again. And now all I'm gonna do is go straight back to the straight ankle lock here. So I'm here. I go for the de la Riva, I pull. I connect to the ankle lock here. I start trying to bring him to the side. He feels I'm bringing him to the side, so he's gonna close his hip. And when he closes his hip here, now all his weight is like on his butt area. So now this pressure is gonna be straight. Before it's more over here and on the side, but because his hip is on the other side and he's opening my knee, it changes the angle of the pressure on his ankle. So now I could go to a straight ankle lock, and I use my elbow now for this one. I pull, and instead of before when I close my elbow, I'm going to use my elbow here. I'm going to use my forearm. I'm going to use my elbow to push downish in a downward motion, and I'm going to arch my back, bring my shoulders to the mat. I'm going to push his knee up. So I push, I draw my elbow, and I bring my head back to finish this ankle lock. Just notice the pressure. I'm working like a multiple things here. I'm putting my wrist to my chest. I'm pushing his knee away, and I'm putting my head to the floor. So I'm bringing my forearm to my chest. I'm pushing his knee away, and I'm also using this bottom leg as like a de la Riva to pull him and push him forward. And when I finish, I push him back. I push the leg back, and I bring my forearm to my chest, and I bring my head down. I can finish the ankle lock with a lot of pressure. And this bottom hook is hooking his body like before to adjust and move his foot up and down. This is what's helping me adjust my body here in this ankle lock. So again, so we're here, de la Riva, I get this position here. I start going here, so I can jump my elbow and open his knee. So I can open his knee. So now the guy's able to close his hip. And when he closes his hip, he opens my knee open. Just like what I was trying to do to him. I was trying to open his knee, so he opens my knee so he could close his knee. You see? So he's basically doing the same thing I was doing before. So now all I'm going to do is make a grip right below the knee again so I can use it as an adjustment to pull and push. I use my bottom leg here. Very important, I use this bottom leg to address his leg to move my body back. I push his knee up. I bring my forearm to my chest. I use the de la Riva hook on his back. And I bring my forearm to the chest, I put my head to the mat, and I put my shoulders down to finish this ankle lock. And I'm pushing this leg. Again. So we're here. Boom. 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 Okay guys, so now I'm going to show a more common reaction to this position with like guys that understand it better and how I'm going to address it. And it's going to be basically, we're going to be here, and the reaction that Renato's going to give when I go for the position this time is I'm going to get the ankle lock here, And the reaction Renato's gonna give. I try to go here, he opens my hip, and now he's gonna grab my collar, and he's gonna turn his knee in, he's gonna bring his body to this side. Now, all his weight's on this far hip, which makes it a lot more difficult for me to turn my body straight into the side. And what is happening here? What's happening is, this grip is going with this leg, this hip. There's a correlation between this arm and this leg every time he's playing from any position. So his power is going to be in this arm and this hip. So we're going to have to address one of them to off balance his power. So he's going to be strong here and he's going to be strong on this hip. Both of these are correlated. So how am I going to address this? All I'm going to do is I'm going to make a grip on his collar. I'm going to pull into me and I'm going to move my foot to his shoulder. Now all I'm going to do is switch my grip to his sleeve and I'm going to break his grip. Now once I break his grip, I'm going to hook his back again and make a grip on his leg. Now I can finish straight, but right now I'm on the side. I'm going to take advantage of this because I'm on the side, I can manipulate his ankle a little better, and it's illegal for me to turn in IBJJF, but I can stay here and I can apply pressure. And I'm going to stretch, and now it's a little different angle on the ankle here. So before it was straight, then the other one was on the side. This time his knee's closed, so now the angle on his ankle is a little different. It's actually more powerful over here. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to put my wrist to my stomach again. I'm going to push, and now I'm going to bring my elbow to my head to apply like it's like a high elbow ankle lock on this side. And again, the angle is a lot different under my armpit this time because of the angle of his knee. Every angle of his knee, the pressure on the ankle is going to be different. So we go back, we're here, we're belly heave up. I'm here, I go here, I get the ankle, I try to bring him this side, he opens, he closes his leg, and he brings me this direction. So now we're here. So the correlation is here is his arm and his leg. This is his center of power. He's strong using his cross arm and leg. So when I disrupt his balance and his base, then his body is going to be weak. So how am I going to do this? He's going to have his arm closed. He's going to be strong here. So I punch his shoulder. And what does that do? You see how I'm able to straighten his arm. Because I'm able to straighten his arm, he lost his power pulling me forward and closing his elbow and being strong here. So I push and I bring my body back. Now his arm is straight. Now, because his arm is straight, I can fit my foot inside his armpit here. And if I try to stretch, some guys I can break this, but guys, I have to assume he's going to be strong here. So I'm going to make a grip on his sleeve in this position, and I'm going to keep my foot on his shoulder. Now all I'm going to do to break this grip, I'm going to move my body back, and I'm going to pull this grip down. So I'm going to push my leg, straightening it, I'm going to stretch. Now, I'm going to connect my foot back to the spot. And before he re-grabs my collar, I'm going to grab his knee. Now that I grabbed his knee, I'm able to adjust my body in a better angle. And I can move my body back to the side. Now I'm here. I'm going to lift up my elbow high. I'm going to look backward. I'm going to bring my forearm again to my chest. I'm going to push his knee down. And I'm going to stretch to apply pressure for this position. But notice again how I break this grip here. He has the collar. Let's actually change angles. So we're here, so he's here, I get here. He has his knee closed, he brings me this way. Boom. So notice how I break this grip. He's strong when he's pulling me. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to punch, and I'm going to stretch his body backward. The second I'm able to straighten his arm, he lost his pull and pressure here. So now I have space to connect my foot here, and he's not pulling me. So now, even if he started pulling me now, he'd kind of break his own grip. So he's kind of in a bad spot here to break his grip. So I can grab his sleeve, I can push, and I can move my head back and bring my shoulders back. Now I connect my foot again like a deli heave on his body. I control the knee, and now his knee is inside. So our ankle lock angle is different. It's going to have a different pressure on his body. I'm going to push his knee back. I'm going to adjust my body. Now I'm going to go high elbow. I'm going to bring my shoulders back. I'm gonna bring my body back. I'm gonna push his knee, and I'm just gonna stretch backward. And notice, guys, how I'm still keeping both feet on his body here. And because he's on this hip, my foot's kind of sitting on this back leg. And I feel like because my foot's sitting on this back leg, grab the collar again, I'm able to keep a distance, pushing him away, using the back leg right now. instead of the forward leg because he has no pressure on the forward leg right now. So I'm using my foot more on his bottom leg, and that enables me to sit up, move my body back, and I can push. And I like to connect my foot to his hip. So my foot is more on his leg and also hip here, and that's keeping his body away from me. So we're here. He has his arms pulling me in. He's strong. He's pulling me in. I push, and I push his far hip away. I stretch. I connect my foot to his shoulder. I grab the sleeve. I push, and I move my shoulders back. Now I connect my foot to the body. I control below his knee. I move my body back. I lift my elbow up. I arch. I bring my shoulders to my head. I bring my forearm to my stomach, and my chest, and I stretch to get the ankle. Straight in. Okay guys, so now we're going to get into the next scenario where my opponent was able to get on that far hip again and that collar grip, and he was able to actually get on one knee. I wasn't able to break his grip in time, and he was able to get his base on that one knee. And I'm going to show how I address that and his power in that position and how we're going to counter it and get to the ankle lock again. So I'm going to be here, the same way in double pull. I get the grip, I go here. First, always my goal is to open his knee so his knee is this way. But he was stronger than me. He was able to close his knee, got his leg in, and grab the collar. He stayed on his hip in the beginning. He's here. I try to go to break the grip, but before I can, he gets up. So now he's here. He got on that one knee, and he's here. So here it's actually a little easier for me to break this grip because there's a little more space when he sits up because his arm is here. He's trying to close his elbow. I can use my knee even to keep his elbow over his knee. This helps me. So I'm going to punch his shoulder. I'm going to get the foot here. I'm going to break his grip. Now he's standing and I was able to break the grip. And now all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my bottom foot. I'm going to push the bottom leg and I'm going to push down. Now he falls again. So now I move my body in. Now that I move my hip in, I have the same pressure as before. The high elbow, ankle lock. I lift my elbow up. I bring my shoulders back, I adjust, and I finish the position holding the leg here, and I'll be able to finish right here the same way. So we're here, I get the collar, I get the knee. I go for the ankle lock, always trying here to open his knee. But if he knows how to defend his position, he's going to open my hip, he's going to close, and now he's going to get to this spot here, where I want to break his grip, but he was able to get on top of me. So when I'm here, it's very important, guys, not only my pressure on this arm, but this bottom foot. Because if he gets his foot on the mat, I can't ankle lock him with this. I can't ankle lock him here because his foot's on the mat. He has weight on his forward leg. The way I can ankle lock is if I can keep all his weight on this back leg, because this leg is light. There's no weight on it. So every time he puts weight on this leg, it's going to be difficult for me to go for the ankle lock, and I have to switch to other positions. So for now, we're going to keep his weight on this back leg, and I'm going to have the grip here. He's going to be strong here. I'm going to push his shoulder and straighten his arm. So when he comes up, I straighten his arm, And I use this foot to stretch his body. And I use my bottom foot to stretch his hip. Now I can break this grip easy. Boom. Now all I'm going to do is once I break this grip, he has no balance because he needs this collar to balance. So I'm going to move my foot to the bottom leg and I'm going to push, making an X with my legs to stretch him down. I'm going to move my hip in. The reason I move my hip in is because I'm able to bend his knee. And when I bend his knee, it makes his ankle weaker for me to bend. If his leg's straight your leg, like here, it's hard for me to bend his ankle because he has his whole leg to fight me. But when I bend his knee, now his ankle is weak because he doesn't have the support of his knee and hip behind his ankle. So now it's a lot easier for me to move my body back, lifting up my elbow, bringing my forearm to my body, pushing the leg, and using my shoulder to finish the position. So we're here again. We're here. Boom. Ankle up. Boom. I try to open. He opens my knee and comes up. Again, I cannot let this foot touch the floor for this position. And again, another detail is if he gets his elbow closed, all I do is I keep my knee on his shoulder. So now he can't close his elbow below my hip. So I can use my knee to keep his elbow open more here. I pull the collar, and now I'm going to connect my foot to his shoulder. I'm going to break this grip. Once the grip's broken, I connect my foot to the leg. I push and I stretch here. Now that he falls, I move my hip in and I bend his knee. The second I bend his knee, he lost all the strength in his ankle. So he can't flex his ankle down. So it's way easier for me to adjust the grip on the ankle lock. And now the same pressure here. So I push, I open my elbow, and I move my back. So here, it's the same thing, and my foot is on that bottom leg instead of the top leg here. Because if it's on the top leg, he can come up again. He can come up. You see, like I don't have weight keeping his leg back, but when I keep this leg back, come up, it's a lot harder for him to come up, and I have more pressure on his knee. So I use my toes on his bottom leg here to keep him from coming up like an X. So my leg is here, and this leg is on the back like a De La Riva, and I'm pushing the knee, and now I have the pressure on his ankle. Again, here, go here, go ankle lock, closes the leg, he comes up. So I'm here, I get my knee on his shoulder. This is what makes I can straighten his arm with my knee on his shoulder. You see how I'm able to straighten the arm here? And now I can connect my foot and I can break it. Boom. I connect my foot again. I can even use my hand on this back leg to push. His butt touches the floor. Now I can move my body in. Once his knee is bent, it's fair game for his foot because his foot has no strength from his knee and hip. I can stretch, I can adjust. I could go high elbow here. If I feel like I need to, I'm here, I can come back this way now. I could pose, I could bring my shoulder back, and I could go for this position. But I typically like when he goes to this spot, I'm able to bend his knee to finish on this side. I almost feel like this side's even stronger because of the angle of his knee and the angle of the foot because of his knee pointing this way. And remember guys, we cannot turn this way in IBJJF. This is illegal. So I have to turn, I could go square, I could go that way, I just cannot force his knee that way. So I'm here, I pull, I adjust, my 4 fingers on my toes are on this back leg. I adjust, I open my elbow, I push, and I put pressure. Okay guys, so we're gonna work a position here, and it's one of the common scenarios in this position I like to do from the double pull, and I'm gonna explain how I use my concept in this position and how we counter it. So we're gonna be here in double pull. I'm gonna go ahead and knock it here. I get to the ankle lock at the collar. I set up the ankle lock. I'm here. So the reason why I play with both of these feet on his hips is for this reason. Every time he clears one foot, I have the other foot as a form of distance to bring my leg back. He takes out the bottom foot, I have another form to put my legs back. So because I have 2 feet here, it saves me from, if I only have 1 foot, for example, he could take it off and now I could get leg drag. There's a lot of things that could happen, you see, because I only had 1 form of distance, it's easy for him to kill it. But when I have 2 here, and then I can even use this as a form of distance with this hand, it gives me 3 fronts that he has to address to kill my position, which makes it way more difficult for him to address all 3, you know? So he would have to kill this, he would have to kill all 3 of these to get over this position. So it's a very difficult position for him to deal with because I have all these forms of distance. And all we're gonna work now is, I'm gonna be here in the ankle lock, and what he's gonna do is he's gonna take out my bottom leg here. So like I said before, if I was in a position like this and he took out the bottom leg, I'm in bad shape here because he could grab my collar and he could pass me with the leg drag pass here, coming up, and he could drop his knee and start passing for the leg drag because I don't have the distance. So he just has to address 1 to kill me there. So because I have both feet here and he takes out now 1, look what I have here. I have this as distance and I have this collar. So now right now I have 2 things working in my favor. I have this and this, which saves me from him coming up for the leg drag. So now all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go on my body, I'm gonna push away. And what is that doing? That's gonna straighten this arm here. And he has power when his arm is bent and pulling my body. So he has power here pushing down. But when I straighten his arm away from him, he loses his power here and now I punch his shoulder. So now I move my leg back. Now he loses that grip on my leg. So we're here. I'm here, I push away, I straighten the body, I go on my side, and now I'm able to break that grip. Now, and you see how this foot is keeping on his body the distance, so he can't come into me right now, and I have this grip here. So 2 things, he can't come into me, like try to come in. I have these 2 things here to block him from coming into me. So now, all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move my leg back into the place, and because he did this reaction, like I said before, the correlation between this arm and this hip, and this arm and that hip. So he's pushing this down, all his pressure is on this hip, which is amazing for me because his pressure is on this hip. His hip is going to be open. So now I can attack all my variations here, closing my shoulder, posting my hand, because his hip is open. Because he's using this arm right now. So it makes it easier for me. You see, so I'm here, I get to the ankle lock position here. I get here. So I'm here, he pushes down my leg. So he's using this arm, which is correlated with this hip. You see how his hip is even opening right now? This is what helps me for this position. He's opening his hip, so I know I'm gonna have to do the opening, the hip ankle lock variations here. And all I do is I keep my form of distance, foot on the hip, foot on the collar, I push. Now I have straightened his arm, so I put my head on the floor, I straighten his leg almost, and I move my leg back. Now that I lose that grip, I can bring my foot back. It's fair game for me to bring my foot back. Now I'm in this spot again. And when I get to this spot again, I'm going to make sure I get my knee under his hip again here. Now that I have the table, I like to call this like a table because it's sitting on top of my leg, this knee. Now I pinch my knees. I can close my elbow. And now my head's on the floor. And I can put pressure. And I can post. And I can go for the ankle lock here. The both variations I did before, I'm able to do from this spot because his knee is open, and I'm able to use this leg to keep his knee open. And getting the table is so important here because now I can adjust, and I have and now even if he brought me the other way, I have the same ankle lock like here to go for. So I'm here, we're in this double pull position here. I go here, I get the grip here. He's here, he takes out my bottom leg. Boom. So now I have this foot here. This is my saving grace here. I push and I bring his knee almost open more. because when I open his knee more, it makes it difficult for him to come up or anything because his hip is still down. So now I can back up. I pull my foot, pushing his butt away, and I pull the collar and I push, depending on what's going on. So first when he pushes down my leg, I'll push a little bit to move my body away. But now I'll pull when I connect my foot to his hip. I'll pull to move my leg off because now all his weight's on his butt and it's an uncomfortable position for him. So now I can come back, and now I push when I come back. So I'm here, he pushes down my leg. Here, I'll push away first to move my body away, my butt away. So my butt's in, I move my butt away. I pull, putting all my pressure on my foot on his stomach. Now I move my leg back, and now I'll push again to get here. Now I get the chair, so I lift up his knee, holding the grip or holding the knee like a no-gi grip to get the chair. Now the table. Now that I have the table, it's fair game now for the ankle lock. Dropping my shoulder here, going here, posting my hand, coming up. So I have all these options here because I'm able to get the table again on his knee. So again, we're here. I go here, I get to this position. He's here, his knee's down, he pushes off this hook. He pushes off the bottom hook. Boom. So the correlation is his arm and leg. So I know that this is where his power is, so I'm gonna open his knee here. I'm gonna move my body back, I'm gonna connect the collar. So I'm gonna push away to move my butt away. I'm gonna pull, connecting my foot to his hip. I'm gonna move my leg back. Now that his leg's back, I'm gonna push and connect my knee. Now I'm gonna get the table. Now it's fair game again. Now we're back to our spot. I have his hip open already. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna adjust his body, drop my shoulder, so moving my elbow down. Now I have the ankle lock here. Now I can come up here, and I have the belly down. I have all my options now because I was able to get the table back because his hip's open. Okay, so one more time. Here, go here, move the leg. I connect to the ankle lock. He's here, he takes out the bottom hook. Here, I grab the collar, I push to move my butt away. Now I pull, and now he's like, look how much pressure is on his hip right now because of my foot. It's very uncomfortable for him. So even if he's keeping this grip on my bottom leg, it's really easy to clear because he's leaning, all his shoulders are forward, and he has no pressure on my leg because of that. Like I move my butt away, now I push and come back. I get the table. Now it's game on. I move my shoulder back, one. And now I leg lock here. Okay guys, so I'm gonna show another reaction off of the open hip arm series. So I'm gonna be here in the double pull. I'm gonna go Delahiva, I get the ankle lock, I get here. So, and also this time, instead of pushing down my foot, this time all he's gonna do is he's gonna open my foot. And when he opens my foot, it's the same concept as before. So I'm gonna get the collar, I'm gonna push away to move my butt away to get my foot completely on his hip this time. Because my foot's not on his hip, he can start going toward my head, he can long step, he can start going toward my head here. So what's keeping him away from my head is this foot. This is very important how I'm able to place my foot on the line of his hip, like completely in his hip here. So now I'm safe from him going toward my head here. And I have this collar grip to push him away so I could move my butt back. And when I move my butt back, now I'm able to eliminate this grip just like before. And because he's using this arm again, it's the same opening the knee. His hip is open now. So I'm able to go for our hip open ankle lock series like before. So I can punch and I can bring my foot back. Now when I bring my foot back, I'm gonna hook his knee. I'm gonna cup his knee, or I can hold the knee, doesn't matter. And I'm gonna open his knee up to place my knee inside to the table position where my knee is on top of his leg and knee here. So I'm here, I push and I open his knee. Now I'm back to square one in our safe spot. I have the chair here, I mean the table, I have the grip, and I can pull and push my body in and out. So I can start going for the ankle lock here. I can start going for the ankle lock here. And I'm able to keep his hip open now once I have this angle on his hip. So we're here, we're in the Dalahiva. I open his hip, I go to the ankle lock here. I get to this position. And now to opens my leg away. So now that I open my leg away, I'm simply gonna push. I'm gonna connect my foot even more, like completely getting it on his hip so now I'm safe. I push, I move my body away. So now the leg's free, I'm gonna put my foot back on the hip. His knee's still on the floor, so what I have to do is I have to open, and then I open his knee to get my knee inside here. So now I'm here, I'm gonna make a grip on his knee, I'm gonna push, and then I'm gonna pull my body here, so I can go on my elbow, shoulder. Now that I'm on my elbow, shoulder, I have the pressure here. I could come up if I can by posting my hand on my head here. I have a lot of control here. So I'm always using the collar grip to keep as a form of distance when I have the ankle lock. So if I'm here, just in the spot, when I'm here, I'm always using this collar to push and pull away. Sometimes I'm even on this sleeve. If he's bothering me a lot here, I'm keeping this sleeve away. Sometimes I'm holding this sleeve. I'm always just using this hand for something, either the knee or I'm addressing the upper body in some sort of way. So this helps me a lot, okay? So now I'm gonna show it in real time. So here. Another way I could get the knee on the table if I feel like I need to, instead of opening the knee, if I feel like he's too strong here, I could go on my knee. So I can push his knee down. I can go on my knee, and now I can lift the foot up and come back to get my knee in the chair position. So I'm here, I can't get my knee up by lifting, I push, I can get my knee up now, pose, now I can hook and get to the chair, the table. Here, boom. Here, boom. Side.